626 was designed to be a monster, but now he has nothing to destroy. You see, I never gave him a greater purpose. What must it be like to have nothing? Not even memories to visit in the middle of the night.
This scene reflects the existential crisis that arises when the shadow self is rejected or marginalized. Without purpose or acceptance, the shadow, like Stitch, feels aimless and empty. If we keep suppressing parts of ourselves, like anger, envy, jealousy, it's as if we're telling the shadow it's useless and it's unworthy of being seen. Do you see now how shadow suppression is very often tied to feeling unworthy of love? The line about having no memories to visit at night emphasizes that the shadow needs memories and roots too. If it's never allowed to express itself without causing rejection, it has nothing, no memories, no grounding, no experience. This highlights the crucial need to integrate a shadow self, embracing all parts of who we are, even those we find negative or undesirable. Because without this integration, the shadow stays isolated, and so do we, thinking that there's something wrong with us. Oyster farming. I mean, that can be useful. Why so disgusted with fire eating? It's pretty cool, if you ask me. Yeah, maps, those are always useful. Aww. The scene shows the shadow slowly integrating. Stitch feels more accepted because Lilo, the self, stood up for him, embracing him as part of the family. He witnessed how important the concept of family was, so much so that even Nani, the person with authority in the house, couldn't deny it and had to act on it. This moment also reflects how Nani managed the power balance. As caregivers, it's crucial to acknowledge the power we hold in those relationships, which naturally will create an imbalance. This imbalance can be addressed when the person in power knows when to step back and allow the other to hold it. But unfortunately, many parents often fail to manage this balance, leaving the child feeling unheard and disrespected with no sense of control or boundaries. Nani, being new to the role of authority, is more flexible and not overly attached to it, allowing her to give power to Lilo. By doing so, she made the shadow, Stitch, feel accepted. By feeling this acceptance, Stitch becomes less defensive and seeks Lilo's help, you see. Even though this way of doing it, like waking her in the middle of the night, shows a lack of consideration, I think that that's quite the point. Early steps in self-acceptance are often imperfect. Stitch's bold move reflects the small, clumsy steps we take as we begin to embrace all parts of ourselves.
That's the ugly duckling. See, he's sad because he's all alone and nobody wants him. But on this page, his family hears him crying and they find him. Then the ugly duckling is happy because he knows where he belongs.
Oh. Now, he seeks help because for the first time he's able to identify with something, and this is part of the reason why representation is important. He has never seen before someone openly saying they're lost, but now he sees it in a book, so he wants to understand the experience of the ugly duckling in order to apply it to himself and perhaps find where he belongs as well. This is almost like a deep dive in how the shadow part of us feels at times. Confused and alone in a world that keeps saying it doesn't belong and it should disappear, and a world that doesn't validate its feelings. While Lilo might know that Stitch belongs with her, the shadow self still needs independence and exploration to come to the same conclusion. The shadow needs space for self-exploration to eventually integrate and mature, and Lilo is showing what the self should do: be kind and compassionate throughout this process.
Nani!
Yeah, good morning, girl.
Oh, yeah. Look.
Now, this scene, while hilarious, symbolizes Lilo finally giving a voice to her shadow, and in return, the shadow listens. Finally, Stitch collaborates. After a moment of pure acceptance from Lilo, Stitch reveals his creative potential, showing that the shadow, when embraced, can contribute positively. Lilo's excitement reflects how she's now in tune with her shadow, and by sharing it with Nani, she's also inviting others to accept and appreciate the shadow's gifts. This moment highlights the creative potential of the shadow when it's given space to be heard and understood. Wow. That's a neat trick. Yeah, the only appropriate response.
Actually, I just quit that job.
Right.
Because, you know, the hours are just not conducive to the challenges of raising a child.
Dude!
I am so sorry about that.
What is that thing?
That's my puppy.
Really?
Yeah, he's not buying it.
Thus far, you have been adrift in the sheltered harbor of my patience.
What are you,
but
Shakespeare?
I cannot ignore you being jobless. Do I make
Can you maybe ignore it once?
Clear?
Perfectly.
Unfortunately.
And next time I see this dog, I expect it to be a model citizen. Capiche?
What? That's a bit unrealistic,
Yes.
Mama. Yeah? Great.
Elvis Presley was a model model citizen. I've compiled a list of the traits.
Just wait until 2024.
Number 1, dancing.
I can't talk now, dear. I'm waiting for someone to answer my call.
That's why she's there. Okay, so Nani and Lilo each have clear goals. Nani needs a job, and Lilo is determined to turn Stitch into a model citizen. However unrealistic that is. In this scene, we see Stitch starting to listen and trust Lilo more, a direct result of acceptance. He's learning, having fun, and making mistakes, exactly what happens when the shadow is embraced. So Lilo is trying to mold Stitch into someone she admires, Elvis Presley, her role model. But perhaps the shadow in its raw form resists being molded into societal expectations, which is what often pushes the individual to seek their own identity. However, this resistance may be subconscious, which is why Stitch keeps trying the different things Lilo suggests, testing his boundaries substantially. Throughout this process, the self must be accepting, open, and forgiving when the shadow inevitably messes up. Mistakes are part of the process, and Lilo seems to understand this. She doesn't judge Stitch. She encourages him to keep trying, helping him gradually integrate.
This is it. Time to bring it all together.
Oh, that would be so great. You have no idea how badly I need this job.
It's all you, not them.
Okay. Though, come on now. You knock it off! The shadow is growing and learning and having the time of its life, but notice that in these scenes, Lilo is away from Stitch, and he finds himself at the center of attention, a dangerous place for the shadow to be. Without the protection of the self, Stitch becomes easily triggered, overwhelmed, and quickly spirals out of control. This highlights how the shadow, still in the process of integration, struggles when exposed to too much too soon. Interestingly, Stitch experiences the same kind of unfairness that Lilo faced at the beginning of the movie, when she was reprimanded while her aggressor was never acknowledged. Similarly here, Stitch is blamed for his reaction, but the fact that he was overwhelmed and given no space by the crowd goes unnoticed. This experience is new for him, and Lilo, the self, needs to better understand what situations are safe for the shadow to come out, because by the time she tries to intervene, it's already too late.